Welcome, my friends, once again to It's Vinylly Mine. So glad you could join us today for another Patreon pick. Yes, my patrons voted for this very interesting release of the heavy metal soundtrack, the music from the motion picture release. This is not the score, this is the vocal soundtrack from this very interesting animated film. Now, if you want to know details about the film, you can check out the Spoiler Room episode we did a while back during one of our animation months and check out all the great details about the film itself. Now, coming back to the soundtrack, this was released on Elektra Asylum Records and Full Moon. This is DP90004. I think I got the right number of zeros in there. And released in 1981. Some interesting details with this heavy metal soundtrack. It peaked on the Billboard charts, the Billboard 200, at number 12, which is impressive considering the talent and the tracks that they have on here. And most of it are pulled, I should say, from other albums that these artists have released before. But enough about me babbling. Let's drop the needle and take a look closer at this release. Now, yep, here we have this. I love the artwork from Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is actually a magazine as well. That's where this came from. That was a compilation, featured many artists doing more mature artwork. A lot of famous artists who did comic books as well as doodles, like for Mad Magazine and Cracked, were able to stretch their artistic legs, if you will, and do stuff they normally couldn't do in those magazines in Heavy Metal. There was some mature articles as well, and it's just a more adult comic book featuring some very talented artists and some wonderful artwork, and this cover embodies that quite a bit. I love this picture of the warrioress on the really strange bird holding up that sword. I mean, it just grabs you. You feel the metal coming through this album. And of course, that logo helps as well. The chrome heavy metal logo here, and the list of all the artists who are featured on this soundtrack. So yeah, it's a great cover and it just grabs you right away, and I love that artwork. Here we are with the spine, and music from Heavy Metal. There's the Full Moon and Asylum logo, and then the back featuring more iconic artwork. This is the style of artwork that you would see in the magazine, and I love it. And it has our track listing, give you an idea of what songs, what specific songs are in this soundtrack, in this pressing, as well as who produced the album and the movie produced an Ivan Reitman, Leonard Mogul production. Yeah, Ivan Reitman actually helped produce Heavy Metal. I always found that little trivia bit interesting. And then, of course, we have the Heavy Metal trademark is owned by National Lampoon. Go figure, hence Ivan Reitman's involvement. And I love how it's on an angle as well, letting you know this is definitely a rebellious type of album, not putting it straight. It really just, it catches your interest. Then on the inside gatefold, check it out. Here's some more cell and features scenes from the movie, and yeah, this will definitely get you in the mood for the film and give you an idea of what to expect as far as visuals go with the Heavy Metal soundtrack. And then on the right, I love this: a universe of mystery, a universe of magic, a universe of sexual fantasy. Yeah, well, you can read the rest here. And is Heavy Metal. And they are right, that everything in this little phrase right here that we have, it embodies Heavy Metal. Now, let's look at the records. I find the sleeves of these very interesting because unlike, having a separate liner note or printed on the inside, they ended up printing the credits for the songs on the sleeve that the record vinyl goes into. And so the vinyl record goes into. So I thought that was a very interesting way to do that. And on this album, this sleeve, they have the credits for the actual record itself, giving, credit to everybody involved in this wonderful pressing. The other sleeve is the same way. As you can see here, we have the track listings for what is on the vinyl inside the sleeve. Now, one interesting little tidbit that I found interesting is here where it says "crazy" with the question mark. Well, that'll come into play in a minute here as I show you the record itself. Now, the record itself has a great label on it. I love the black and red. It stands out, very simple to read. But notice the crazy, no question mark. Don't know why, but I just found that tidbit interesting that there is no crazy question mark on it. Now, what's also interesting, if you notice, this says side 2 and side 3. And the reason is because the other album is side 1 and 4. And why? Well, if you have a more fancy record player, you could stack these and kind of do a continuous play on the record. So the way you would stack it, much like the Star Wars one we covered, you put it on side 1 and side 2, and then when you just flip both of them over when you're done, you'd have side 3 and then play side 4. So yeah, you don't get a lot of albums that do that take that into account, but since this was 81 and a lot of people had the vinyl players that you could stack records in the day, yeah, they did. So, as always, I've heard this soundtrack many times, but I'm still going to take a step away, listen to this pressing, and when I come back, I'll give you my thoughts, a little more tidbits, and my favorite track from this soundtrack. So stay tuned.
Hey everyone, don't forget to join us on July 9th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for our 15th anniversary AMA. Yes, that's right, this old man of the stream has been on YouTube for 15 years, and we're doing an AMA where you can catch us live and ask us questions about content we've put up on our channel, as well as our experiences as being on YouTube for such a long time. We will be doing commentary on some of our videos and taking your questions, plus a whole lot more. There may be a few surprises in store as well. So you will not want to miss this fun and interesting evening of conversation. July 9th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for your support.
So we are back, everyone, and as you can imagine, I love this soundtrack. I love all the tracks on it. My favorite track out of all of these, though, is gotta be Veteran of the Psychic Wars by the Blue Oyster Cult. I love that song. I love all the songs on here, but for some reason, I've listened to that track on repeat on the CD I have, and I even listened to it a couple times here on the vinyl. The vinyl sounds awesome. For this being, 40 years old, excuse me, for this being 40 years old, it still sounds fantastic, and I'm very happy I got this soundtrack. Now, as you imagine, with legal difficulties, I mentioned the CD, because of the way they negotiated things. Even though this vinyl was released in 1981, we didn't actually get a CD of this until 1995, until they worked out the legalities. Further legal issues with the music, and thank you, RIAA, for even being a pain back then. Because of legal issues, they had troubles releasing this to the home video market as well, because all the contracts specified that this soundtrack, the music, could only be played on the video, the cinematic release, as well as the soundtrack releases, but not on the home video market. So it was not until 1996 that the official home release was put out, which is just crazy. So crazy, like the song. So there you have it, folks. Another little tidbit that actually links to something modern today. There was going to be a reboot of the actual movie Heavy Metal, and what they ended up doing was transitioning that and turning that, reimagined it and titled it Love, Death, and Robots. Yes, released on March 15th, 2019. Love, Death, and Robots from Netflix. Netflix is the spiritual sequel / reboot of Heavy Metal. So there you have it, folks. Thank you so much. Hope you found this interesting, and seek out this soundtrack. It's wonderful, wonderful. If you like classic metal and alt rock and all of that, that's on here, and it's a wonderful release. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble. Check out our Patreon if you haven't already. We got an AMA coming up July 9th, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Hope to see you there. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, from my first start on YouTube videos and who knows what else. Hope to see you there. Thank you for always watching. And remember, it's not yours, it's vinylly mine. And I'll catch you on the flip side.